And I realized that you only can go so far in a strategic mindset. You really have to learn how to tactically implant those ideas into, gain traction, so to speak.
Expanding possibilities, the mindset zone.
I'm your host, Ana Melikian, and my mission is to support individuals and organizations to increase their impact while avoiding burnout. If you want to work smarter, not harder, I can help you. If you want to go from burnout to full engagement, let's talk. Reach me at Ana, A-N-A, at mindset.zone. Yes, instead of .com, it's .zone. You can also access all the episode notes, links, and other amazing resources at mindset.zone. Today, our special guest is Adam McKee. Adam is the owner of Contemporary Woods in Lincoln, Nebraska, that specializes in building custom cabinets for high-end homes. He sees himself as a visionary for his small business, and his mission is to celebrate craft in business and life. Welcome to the Mindset Zone, Adam.
Thanks for having me, Anna. I'm really excited to be here.
And the reason why I really want to have you here in the Mindset Zone is your passion for celebrating craft. Because I think for you, celebrating craft is really a mindset, it's a lens through which you see the world. So can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, for me, celebrating craft is when I boil it down for what I do is I get to stand back and look at the physical, tangible results of what's been built. It doesn't matter if you're building something for a client or if you're building your child's play fort in your backyard. You get to stand back and see those physical, hand-worked results of your craftsmanship and of putting the pieces together. And I can stand back and just stare at that for minutes and minutes, just taking in like what you've designed, what you've built, and it just gives me goosebumps.
And it's almost because it's what our eyes see, but also be proud of the work, even for the things that are not that we cannot see. That are in the. I think you are very, in terms of your craft, you like to be proud of all the elements of it. Correct?
Yeah, sometimes there's intangibles that, like you say, you don't see from the outside, but it makes everything work just perfect. And so that's all those parts and pieces coming together. I tell people, I joke, it's kind of like my euphoria, my drug, my high. It's like you get to build something, stand back and soak it up, take it in, and it's really just wonderful.
Be proud of it. And when sometimes you speak about this, I think of Steve Jobs. He had the thing about even the things that were not seen in a computer, they had to look pretty.
Yeah.
The importance of the details. And I remember in one documentary about his life, he says that was his dad that really made him think about that details from a young age, even if one he was, I think he was helping his dad in the backyard, and the fence had to be in a certain way, the part that was seen and the part that was not seen. And yeah, that statical thing of always try to do things beautiful.
Yeah. We had a saying in our shop when I bought the business 12 years ago. It was a lot of people would say, it's good enough. And what I've been trying to do is reverse that course and say it meets the standard. Because when you start minimizing your work and you say, the back's good enough, it doesn't matter, it meets the standard. You can change, just do a flip the script and really change how you perceive something. And that makes a big impact on your work.
That small shift that changes everything, how you look at things. And tell us a little bit more about that, because you're saying that you bought your company, you said 12 years ago, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have now how many employees?
So we have 7 full-time and 4 part-time employees.
Wonderful. And this has been a long journey with some ups and downs, I bet. Can you tell
Yes.
us a little bit more of how you persist and succeed?
Yeah, it all kind of going back a little further behind that. It started, almost 12 years ago, I told my pregnant wife I was going to quit my job with benefits and insurance. I was going to get a loan for 6 figures and buy this existing business, and it'd be great. 6 months later, we had to borrow more money. We had to do this, had to do that, ups and downs, all the learning. And it wasn't until about 7 years ago, not seven, it wasn't about 7 years into it, about 5 years ago, that I kind of just hit a brick wall. I was finally tired of just doing all the mundane over and over, ups and downs, valleys. And I got a lot more serious about learning, reading, joining coaching groups, masterminds, all these great opportunities out there to learn. And that's when kind of those ups and downs have started to level out a little bit more. And instead of having this roller coaster, we're trying to make it more of a uphill, straight incline that's more steady and consistent that can get us where we need to go.
It's really a learning curve. In many ways, I think in running a business, there is so much of personal and professional growth that we have to do along the way.
Yeah.
And what you spoke about coaching programs and learning, what is being one of the things that is helping you more in this learning journey?
Definitely talking to people, like being in, so most of my coaching has been in small group coaching or like I said, in masterminds or coming into not necessarily Facebook lives, but just live events. Different coaches offer different things, introductory to programs. Sometimes you read the book and then you buy the small introduction to the program. And those for me, be able to, I'm a hands-on learner. Obviously, it's what
Yes.
I do, building cabinets and woodwork. And being able to take those concepts that you learned and then start to apply them with other people and then be able to have a place, a safe place when you apply them. And then you can come back and go, oh my God, it all blew up in my face. What do I do? Uh, that's been probably some of the most transformational help I've had along the way. Coaches that listen, that guide you, and that really encourage you to be the best you can and realize it's a marathon, not a sprint.
I love that. The marathon, not the sprint. And I see, and correct me if this inference is not the best, but almost there is a parallel. You had this belief or this way of seeing craftsmanship that there was a standard to meet. There was, you knew that you wanted a certain level. And seems like that part of the journey is you putting also some standards, higher standards for how you run your business.
Yeah. Um, whether it's people or systems or interacting with clients, that's been some of the biggest groundwork we've laid in the last 3 or 4 years is, okay, when we get a new client, what do we say to them? How do we onboard them? When we get a new employee, how do we onboard them? We've made a lot of onboarding checklists and other documents that it's not perfect every single time, but these little things, growing up in business myself, I didn't from my dad and grandfather, who were both businessmen, those weren't things that were openly talked about. They weren't things that were like, well, this is how you do it. It was pick up the hammer and hope somebody pays you. And after doing that 60, 80 hours a week, maybe you'll have enough time to go sleep and do it all over again.
So being a little more intentional and more strategical is part of the more planning. So first, I want to rewind a little and I want to go back to the craftsmanship. Give us your definition of craftsmanship.
I learned a few years back after reading some books. I think Simon Sinek, Start With Why, was pretty impactful to me. And what drives great businesses is a soul drive for one great thing, one thing you do well better than anybody else. And for me, at least personally in my life, and I'm trying to translate into this business, is celebrating craft, celebrating craftsmanship, celebrating what you're good at is the definition what I want to spend my life's work on. And I try to assimilate all different types of industries. I always bring my accountant up. He loves a good spreadsheet. That's his craft. It doesn't have to be wood or paint or stain. It can be anything. Maybe for you, Anna, it's making great connections with great people and changing the world through a better mindset. Whatever your craft is, be able to stand back and know that that's something you're good at. You can focus on it. You can celebrate it. You can inspire others to celebrate their craft by removing extra wastes of your potential you're not fulfilling.
I love that. So you are seeing celebrating craft in this bigger perspective, and now you are making a craft as being a good business owner.
Yeah, treat our employees good. So I want to rewind if we have a few minutes to like my history of my grandfather was a home builder, my dad's an electrician, and they were great technicians, but they weren't great managers and they weren't great leaders or entrepreneurs. And I feel like there's a huge percentage of people out there that start a business, just like they say in the E-Myth,
Yeah.
and oh, I can got my hammer, my tool belt, whatever your tool is, and you're gonna go do your trade. And then they quickly realize, just like I have, that, oh, it's way more than that. There's the back office, there's the admin, there's all the accounting, all the other things that make a good business well run. And trying to tell my team that, tell our clients that, train our culture of, hey, it's not just about celebrating craft once the job's done. It's, did you clean up after yourself? Did you leave it better than you find it? Did you fail forward in your training and learning? Did you teach the next generation that there's more to it than just swinging the hammer? Because when we show that we can have systems and we can celebrate the simplicity of moving a project forward one step at a time, we make it easier for others to come into our industry, others to come into our craft. And there's an issue of a lot of years, many people are retiring and they're not being able to have
Yes.
people behind them to fill their shoes or to pick up their hammer, so to speak. So when we can create a better business with a better mindset, our company's goal is to be the foremost maker in the region. We want to serve quality and teamwork and improvement through every project we do. And the more clear we make that, the more clear I make that every day to my team, the better our unified message is going to be and the better our clients are going to be treated because we have one unified goal with descriptors and methods and ways to say, no, it's not good enough. It meets the standard. No, it's not a failure we can't learn from. We're going to learn from this failure. So,
I love that. In the trade itself, in your case of working wood, doing cabinets, is a craft that you want to celebrate. The business side now is a craft that you want to be celebrate. And even the life, we can even amplify, you want to celebrate the craft of your life.
yeah, I want to be there for my family. I think about all the times that my dad worked late or my grandfather, and they're not financially as successful as I would like to be. And I think it is possible. I listened to this podcast a year or two ago, and their guest said this most amazing phrase to me. And his joy in his life comes from seeing people change the legacy of their last name. And
Repeat that, please.
the quote was, seeing people changed the legacy of their last name.
Powerful.
And for me, growing up in the trades where you may not be highly profitable, you live in paycheck to paycheck, that's a legacy that's, I don't think is at the best of our legacy. We could totally improve that. So learning these business fundamentals, learning how to treat our clients better, treat our employees better, create a better culture will help change the legacy of my last name, of our business's last name. And so instead of 3 or 4 generations that I can remember of my grandfather, his father, my father, all the different generations of they died penniless and yeah, they built some great stuff, but I guess they'll have to work harder next time. Well, let's change that legacy.
Yes.
Let's say it's possible to not kill yourself, to pay yourself well, and have something that's worth celebrating as a team.
I love that. You are honoring the trade and elevate it to the next level.
Yeah.
S- So you also spoke about culture and the culture that you are trying to cultivate in your company. Can you speak a little bit about that and about the core values that you are working on?
So when I bought the business, they did care about quality. And that's something that we kind of built on. And as we have looked inside ourselves, reflected, and realized what we're good at and the strengths we have, we realized not only is it quality, because that's what the business was founded on, that's what I believe in. When I was a kid, I wouldn't do anything less than the best I could, whether it was not very good for a 5-year-old, but for me, it was the best I could do. Um, that's always rung true. And teamwork is what's really been important to me, because I came from having my own shop, my own little garage shop, or tools out of your truck, whatever it is, your little craft. But when you're only by yourself, you only can achieve so much. When you band together with your team and you instill teamwork in your culture, you can create so much more forward positive momentum as a team than you can by yourself. And our last core value of improvement, really about 5 years ago, when I read a book called 2 Second Lean. It was a simplified method of lean manufacturing. But that just struck such a strong chord in my core. And I realized that's what was missing from our culture. And so the last 5 years, we've started improving every day, improving every week, making not only physical improvements, but mental improvements, trying to improve our culture of our team, how we interact with our clients, the respect we show for each other. So quality, teamwork, and improvement.
I love that. Quality, teamwork, and improvement, like the core values that create the culture that allow to celebrate the craftsmanship
Yeah.
of the trade, of the business, and of the life.
Yes.
Love it, love it. And you speak about books, and that is one of the ways that you learn it through books, correct?
Yes. Yeah. Specifically audiobooks. I know there's some people think you have to read it. I listen better than I read. I don't care what medium it is for you. However you intake the information is the most important part.
I agree that I'm a dyslexic. So one of the best ways for me to absorb information is a mix of things. I have the book in front of me, but I'm listening to it. So that is, and I love audiobooks too. And I think for people that listen to podcasts, usually also love audiobooks.
Yes.
So we are in the right place here.
Yes.
Absolutely. And another fundamental in this evolution is finding the right mentors along the way. So can you tell us a little bit more, how did you went about finding the right mentors?
Yeah, that's a great transition from the books, because a lot of these books are written by coaches or leaders or people that want to share their same message of improvement. And at the back of the book, it might say, hey, download this free guide or download this or whatever it is to start your journey. And I started a lot with Mike Michalowicz. He was one of my favorites. That was really easy to get into the culture there. And as I got into that more and more, I discovered there's different coaches out there and different mentors and different groups, like I mentioned earlier. And learning, one of my recent learnings in the last years who is not only are there different coaches, but there's different type of coaching. There's strategic, and there's more tactical. And I spent, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 years doing more strategic coaching. And so I've painted a really clear picture in my head about where I want to be, where I want our team to be, how we're impacting our community, how we're impacting the lives of our teammates, and eventually how I'm impacting my family by changing the legacy of my last name. And I realized that you only can go so far in a strategic mindset. You really have to learn how to tactically implant those ideas into, gain traction, so to speak.
I love that. My background is psychology and is a lot about how can we really create a sustainable transformation. And yes, we have to work in our mindset, in the way that we see the world, our core beliefs, our blind spots, the lenses that we use to make sense of the world. Yes, having a good strategy makes a huge difference. We know the direction that we want to go. We have a game plan, absolutely. But if we are not implementing, things are not going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's different skills that we need for these different things. And sometimes we need different mentors depending on the stage that we are, where we need to put more attention in.
Yeah, that's a good way to phrase it. Kind of different stages throughout life.
Yeah, and so that is important. It's not, it's just what is the person that can support us at this moment for what we need now.
And also the realization that the person that gets you here may not be the person that gets you there.
And
And
it's okay.
yeah, it is okay. And for me, I'm a people pleaser. So that was one of the hardest things to learn is, oh, and I recently had an experience in one of my peer groups. I'm in a entrepreneur organization accelerator. And I've realized one of the people in my group, they self-selected out. They're not a good fit. But it's challenging when you're young in your entrepreneur career to be around people, because you want to fit in, and you don't necessarily know if they're saying aligns with you or not until you kind of reflect on that and learn, oh, maybe they're not the people that I want to surround myself with. Not that they're bad people, but they're on a different journey than me. So how do I find more people that are on a similar journey to me and we can band together and reach great heights?
And this make me think of a mentor of mine. His name is Greg Reed. That he has a couple of sayings that I think really fit very well here. And one of the things that he speaks about is that sometimes we are trying to bring people along, mainly family or close people,
That's true.
and is we are in another world, in another universe. Even people of our peers in our business, but it's one images that he uses is if you are climbing a very high mountain, maybe you are already your lungs already have the training and the things to be okay at a certain level, but if you bring other people that don't have that preparation, then they don't have oxygen to breathe. There's nothing wrong with them. They have maybe to spend more time in the base camp, so to speak, and maybe they will decide to go to the next stretch, or maybe they are happy where they are there, and it's totally okay. I think it's not there is not only one way of doing things.
Yeah, we're not all designed to climb Everest, but some of
Yep.
us can reach the first peak, whatever, the first point on the trail.
And it's wonderful, and we need for the ones that climb all over to the top, they need the support of the others that stay behind too. So I think it's a complementary thing.
Yeah.
And since I quote here Greg, I want to say another thing that when you're speaking remind me of one of the things that he says a lot is that sometimes in our journey he advises, don't seek opinion, seek counsel for people that been there and done that. Because everybody can give an opinion, even if they had not done that, but there is not much value on it. It's much more value for us to follow somebody. If we want to go to whatever, we are speaking about the mountain, but can be explore the down and the Grand Canyon. That is a big valid. Whatever it is your goal, seek counseling for somebody that has done something that or something similar to that.
I love that. I just in the moment, I'm reminded how important that is. I forget that too often, so thank you for saying that.
Yeah, it's a very powerful thing that sometimes we forget because we admire people in some areas and even family that in the business circles from business owners, entrepreneurs, is very common to listen to people, oh, but my family don't understand what I'm doing. And when I said I was going to do this, they are, I think, holding me back because they are just showing what can happen. And sometimes I think more often than not is from a place of good art. They are afraid that you are going to get hurt. And sometimes they will get hurt in the process too. So they are afraid of that. But they didn't did that. Other people have done it. So we can understand that if this is really important for us, who can we ask for counsel that can give us a better guidelines?
Yeah, it is possible. Find people around you that know that it's possible, that can give you the next stepping stone.
So what is your message for other business owners struggling in their journey? Maybe they are really banging their head against the wall.
I believe my biggest message to others is it's possible. It's totally possible with your support and the drive and your willingness to fail and learn from those failures. It's possible to change your own legacy. Somebody that really inspired me in my life is my grandmother, Gigi. She's 99. She'll be 100 in July. And something that she's always done for our family is she's always provided. She will take us out to dinner and she'll take us to an event or do this and that. And it's not the fact that it's the money that does it. That's not the point. And she's doing it for our family to be together, to show that life is fun and it's possible. And you shouldn't have to worry about the little lunch bill or the dinner bill. And so she's inspired me in my life. I want to grow up to be just like Gigi.
Love it. You have a shiro.
Yes.
And it's so important to have that role models in our lives, that people that inspire us. And when we are lucky enough that there people are in our own family, let's celebrate that.
Yeah. So the message to other people is it's possible. Find your hero, find what steps it takes to become like them and set your own path for success and make it happen.
Love it. So, how can people learn more about you and your business if they want to follow you?
We are on Instagram a lot. So our business name is contemporary_woods on Instagram. We also post some of our stuff on Facebook. And then a lot of our pictures, our finished projects are on our website, contemporarywoods.com. And of course, if you follow me on social, you'll see some of my stories of what I'm up to and learning and different entrepreneurial things I'm doing. So,
I love that. And I have to repeat here your big message of celebrating the craft, and that the craft, you can see it in whatever the trade that you are, you can celebrate that craft. You can celebrate if you are a business owner, that is a craft
yeah,
that you can absolutely celebrate. And for everybody, we have one life in this planet, as far as we know. Let's celebrate that too.
I agree. That's wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anna.
Expanding possibilities. The mindset zone.
Thank you for listening. And remember to follow this podcast. And if you are listening in Apple Podcasts, please leave us a review. That really helps us spread the word about the Mindset Zone. Also visit mindset.zone. Yes, instead of .com is .zone. There you can find amazing resources and more information about my speaking and how I support purpose-driven individuals and organizations increase their impact while preventing burnout. As always, I'm so grateful that you are here. Expand what's possible for you, for the ones around you, for the world.